Hello, I'm Sophie de Souza, and it is with great joy that I welcome you to my shower. I'm not going to have a wash. I'm here to tell you about my mosaic. So, as you know, I'm a stained glass artist, and this is something really fabulous that you can do with your leftover glass. So this is a mixture of glass I bought, ready tumbled with the sides rounded off. When I was working in a school, I had it left over. But I mixed in with that my own glass, which I just cut to size very roughly. And because everything's the same depth and it's all well grouted, look, no blood. See? So yes, completely safe for the human body, even when not clothed. And these videos are going to show you how I developed my process, video of me making, and a video of me adhering it. So welcome to the first video in this series of 3, and it's about how I developed the method for how I was going to make these, because it had to be a bit different to what I'd done before. Then there'll be a speeded up, oh, this is me putting the pieces in place, and then there'll be an I'm adhering it video. So I have to do a big shout out right at the top to my lovely friend Tabark, who came over and helped me not be destroyed by the amount of time it was taking to make this. So she came and made it with me and turned what would have been possibly a life sentence into something that was really quite enjoyable. So love you lots, Tabark, thank you very much. So yes, observe. So here is the shower so far. I've got on quite well. I've done 2 sides of the mosaic, and I have this side remaining. So I put a bit of mosaic here so that the plumber could fit all the fittings, but I'm going to have to make a template of this wall. Now you'll see when I show you my method that I use the indirect method, where I make the mosaic elsewhere and then I put a backing all over its face, and then I adhere it to the wall. Now this is quite dusty mosaic and it wasn't sticking to the tape I usually use to move it, so I used a very strong wallpaper paste and paper, but the trouble is it's very difficult to get off. Here at the bottom you can see we're still scrubbing away at it, so I'm going to experiment this morning with a few other tapes that I bought, 2 other tapes actually, and see if I get a better result with those. So what I'm attempting to do with this rather randomly placed selection of bits and bobs of mosaic I'm not that interested in is check how well these different tapes are going to adhere to it. And the real test comes when I've put the adhesive on, to see whether the liquid, you know, obviously the dampness in the adhesive is going to lift away. Need a knife. Right, so I still haven't managed to open this because the side of this tape is so sticky I can't get the wrapper off. Either I'm very feeble or this is kind of melted and deteriorated in storage or something. I don't know, but I'm getting bored of it now. So yeah, we'll just see if we can use it with the plastic still on. So this is T-Rex tape. Never used this before. It is clearly by its name trying to establish its superiority over Gorilla Tape. Because we all know who'd win in a fight, right? So, the other thing I have to test, or the reason I test, one of the things I test, is can I get the tape off after it's in place? Can I even open the tape? That should be one of my tests, right? Oh my god! Oh! I think I need an extra Weetabix in the morning. Let's see if this rips with my fingers. Yes, it does. So this is all I do generally. and make my way along the mosaic, sticking it down. Oh, oh, oh dear, oh dear. Well, I'm feeling very feeble this morning. So I'm going to do half in this T-Rex tape. Sort of taking up the undulations quite nicely. Going to pretend like this is completely normal. Maybe you lot can tell me if you've ever used Gorilla Tape. Is this normal or have I got a dodgy batch? Right. So I'll do one more strip of T-Rex tape and then I'll move on. If I have the strength left in me, I will move on to the Gorilla Tape. Okay. Oh, lordy lord. Who knew? Right. Now, let's see if Gorilla Tape behaves in a more sensible way. Let's get rid of that. That's a bit of a hanger-on. Rips nicely. And once the tape is all in place, I'll go over and smush it down. When I normally do this technique, I use clear all-weather tape and it works beautifully. But these pieces are they're sort of tumbled glass, and something about their surface means that they don't stick at all well to the tape I usually use, which is, like I say, a clear all-weather tape, which is why I've had to experiment. This is my first experiment, so I made a mosaic and stuck it on a board, and I did find that the paste I was using wasn't strong enough and the bits were dropping off. So I have used, for the ones that are in place at the moment, I've used a sort of wallpaper paste that's for hanging very heavy texture wallpaper. It comes ready mixed, and like I say, it's done the job, but it's so strong that we're struggling to get it off the surface. I mean, we can, but it's a lot of work. Now I'm going to mix up some grout and adhesive. I'm going to stick it down to this board and come back to it later and see if I can get the tape off. So the first thing I do when I'm putting mosaic up is, and this surprises people, is I grout it from the back. I may not have mixed enough up there. And the reason for that is, you're probably familiar with the problem that when you grout something, there's not really a problem unless you're doing mosaic. You have to keep rubbing it into the joints and wiping it off. And when you have a lot of joints, like with mosaic, you can be there forever wiping it off. And also, when you grout from the back, you get a nice flush surface. One of the problem areas when I use paper adhered to this mosaic for fixing is, of course, that the paper cannot tolerate being wet for very long at all. So I'm rushing like a crazy thing at this point. I tend to work with much bigger pieces of mosaic than this. I've sort of worked out the optimum size that I can work on without the whole thing just tearing when I lift it. So there we have the grout done. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute so that I can really test the waterproofness. So I just lift off the excess. by the way, other than the usual types of spreaders and grout spreaders and adhesive spreaders, I also use these things, which are for cake decorating. And they're somehow easier to handle when you're doing small areas. I wouldn't recommend it for big walls and things. Another reason I should mention that I made this up wasn't just to test the technique, it was to test the colour of the grout. And having done this, I decided I wanted darker grey grout. So what I'm using today is the spare that I bought, because I really thought mid-grey was going to be the one, but in the end I bought charcoal grey. So I shall just move this out of the way. And actually, let's see, it is lifting quite nicely. It's not tearing. And I will distribute my adhesive. Now, do I feel little or big today? Let's be little today. See, it spreads nicely, doesn't it? Imagine if this was a cake. Yum. It's a weird shape, I realise, but that's what makes it an offcut. Nice and flexible, these spreaders. Cheap as chips. Ooh. Missed. Note to self, protect kitchen table next time. Right, won't worry too much. That'll do. Okay, now we will lay this in place, and it's still doing all right. It's not breaking or tearing. I will come back to this when it's all nicely set, and we'll see if we can get this tape off. There we go. So here we are again. I have had a little peek and a little play. I didn't have time to make another film, but I did have time to come back and just have a little peel. So this is the Gorilla, and what I like about this is it's not so strong that it's pulling the pieces off. I've got a nice flat grout, and it's not leaving any glue behind. Now this is the T-Rex, and it is coming off, but it's leaving a bit of glue. It's harder to get off. I mean, it's doing its job for sure, but in terms of expenditure of effort, it's a little excessive. And you do have these places, you've got this kind of sticky, whereas with the Gorilla, it is slightly less sticky, and in this instance that's better. So I'm going to go with the Gorilla. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this section of the video interesting. I hope it is inspiring to you for what to do with your many leftover bits of glass. And yes, please like, comment and subscribe.